This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Asia's imports of liquefied natural gas, LNG, remained tepid in April while Europe started to show signs of the usual seasonal easing as winter peak demand passed. Asia, the world's biggest importer of the super-chilled fuel, is on track to see arrivals of 22.40 million metric tons in April, according to data compiled by commodity analysts Kepler. This is down from March's 22.68 million tons, although it's up slightly on a per-day basis given April is 1 day shorter than March. However, it's also below the 23.32 million tons recorded in April last year, and much of the decline is due to lower imports by China, the world's top LNG buyer.
Crude oil prices fell on Tuesday as investors lowered their demand growth expectations due to the trade war between the United States and China, the world's two biggest economies. Brent crude futures fell by 59 cents, or 0.9%, to $65.27 per barrel by 0824 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 49 cents, or 0.8%, to $61.56 a barrel. Stalling negotiations between China and the U.S. on trade raises anxiety levels on economic and demand growth prospects once again, said PVM analyst Thomas Varga.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Power started returning to parts of the Iberian Peninsula late on Monday after a huge outage brought most of Spain and Portugal to a standstill, grounding planes, halting public transport, and forcing hospitals to suspend routine operations. Spain's Interior Ministry declared a national emergency, deploying 30,000 police across the country to keep order as governments from the two countries convened emergency cabinet meetings. Outages on such a scale are extremely rare in Europe. The cause was unclear, with Portugal suggesting the issue originated in Spain and Spain pointing the finger at a breakup in its connection to France.
Chinese firms are still building new coal-fired power plants in Indonesia despite a 2021 pledge to stop financing coal projects overseas, according to an analysis of energy investments in BRICS countries released on Tuesday. China is involved in constructing 7.7 gigawatts of new coal-fired power, mostly plants used to run nickel smelters in Indonesia, U.S. think tank Global Energy Monitor said. The BRICS bloc was founded by Brazil, Russia, India and China in 2009 and has since expanded its membership and partners to cover around a quarter of the global economy and half the world's climate-warming carbon dioxide emissions. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold slipped on Tuesday as signs of easing tensions in the U.S.-China trade dispute weighed on the safe haven metal, while investors awaited a series of U.S. economic data due this week for more cues on the Federal Reserve's policy path. Spot gold was down 0.8% at $3,314.52 an ounce, as of 11:25 GMT. U.S. gold futures fell 0.7% to $3,324.30. Gold is being pulled down by optimism in the financial markets over a potential de-escalation in the trade war between China and the U.S. as well as a modest recovery of the dollar, said Ricardo Evangelista, senior analyst at brokerage firm Active Trades.
Copper prices rose on Tuesday due to high demand from top consumer China ahead of its May holiday, concerns about tight nearby regional supply, and a stronger yuan currency. Benchmark 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange was up 0.9% to $9,460 per metric ton in official open outcry trading, but failed to break through resistance at its 50-day moving average of $9,489. We are seeing a trend of restocking in China in advance of the May Day holiday, said Arthur Parrish, an analyst at SP Angel. The mainland Chinese market is due to close from May 1st for a 5-day Labor Day holiday.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Brazil's sugar production is expected to hit a record high in 2025-26 despite a year-on-year drop in the local sugarcane crop, State Agricultural Agency CONAB said on Tuesday, citing favorable market conditions for the sweetener. CONOB estimated sugar output at 45.9 million metric tons, up 4% from the previous season. Brazil's sugarcane crop is seen hitting 663.4 million tons, down 2%. Sugarcane-based ethanol production would slip 4.2% to 28.1 billion litres, CONOB added.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.